Hi everyone, my name is Janique and today I'll be doing a chapter reading from Love Between the Lines, book 1 of the Page Turners series, written by A.D. Brazeau, presented by Itsy Bitsy Bookbits. Chapter 1. Under the sheets was always a good time. Marlowe, exhausted from a sleepless night, at least had something fun to look forward to. She parked her wagon, overflowing with books and swag, behind her table, and looked to see who her neighbors would be. Iris would be on one side of her, as usual, while on the other was a newer author Marlowe wasn't familiar with. The lady, dressed in a retro party dress with colorful ribbons in her hair, had her back to Marlowe as she fussed and fidgeted with her rows of books, trying to get everything just so. Marlowe knew better than to interfere. Whoever she was experiencing what Iris liked to call event virgin jitters. Marlowe was far from any kind of virgin. She no longer dressed up for these things, merely pulled on the nearest pair of jeans, threw on a comfortable oversized sweater, and clipped her unruly red hair up into the world's messiest bun. There was no point of dressing up any more, for anything. When Marlowe pulled in front of Iris's house that morning, Iris had groaned when she opened the passenger door to see her once again looking like a frumpy mess. "Lady, you are hot. Wear something that doesn't resemble a sack once in a while," she had said while tossing her gear into the back seat. Marlowe had merely laughed at her lifelong friend. Under the Sheets was the largest romance book event in Colorado. Readers came from all over the country, some even from overseas, to meet authors, buy books and take home swag. Held in the largest conference room of a huge tower hotel in South Denver, the room was crammed with tables, each one laden with books, bookmarks, pens, and the like. Authors, mostly female, milled about chatting with each other as they prepared for the wave of potential buyers who would soon be crowding inside. Marlowe hauled books out of the wagon, stacked them on the table in the best rows she cared to manage, threw out a few pens personalized with her name surrounded by tiny hearts, and pulled her banner out. She was set up in less than 10 minutes. As she sat in her folding chair, she spied Iris hurrying down the aisle. Iris had been detained by the line of cover models at the front entrance. Her mission? Get a selfie with every single one. "You'll never guess who's here," Iris huffed as she pulled her wagon behind her, loaded to overflowing with books and boxes. She wore her adorable Wednesday Addams dress, the black one with the white collar, her hair pink like cotton candy, in loose ringlets around her shoulders. "Let me guess, Fabio." Marlowe sat with a book in her lap, ready to do some pre-event signing. Iris rolled her eyes as she began tossing books on her table. "Since you've been in a mood all morning, I think I'll just let you find out for yourself." That was when Marlowe's stomach began to feel like she'd swallowed mud. She gazed down at her slovenly clothes. Why hadn't she thought about Heath and the very real possibility he could be here? She shrugged, trying her hardest to affect an I don't care attitude. Of course Heath is here. This is what he does, after all. Iris, organizing behind her table, murmured something Marlowe couldn't hear. She was just about to ask her to speak up when they were interrupted. "Marlowe Bennett? Whoa, I'm a huge fan." Marla snapped out of her thoughts. Her other neighbor, the one with the retro dress, stood in front of the table, one of Marlo's books in her hand. Her cheeks were flushed and her smile was bright. "I'm Tiffany, just started in the business." "Hi." Marlo stood and offered Tiffany her hand. "This is a great first event. You'll meet a lot of fun people. That's Iris Elliott." She pointed to the top of Iris's head, still behind stacks of books and boxes. "Cool." Tiffany held out the book in her hand. "I don't have this one yet. Can I go ahead and buy it from you?" Tiffany held up the latest in Marlo's Bad Boys collection, a muscle-bound, tattooed mafia don on the front cover. She was now 8 books into the popular series. She waved her away. "Take it. Consider it a welcome gift." Tiffany flushed again, thanked her, and went on to the next table past Iris. "You know, the reason you don't make any money is because you give all your stuff away." Iris had re-emerged. She put her books out in much the same manner Marlo did, then kicked her empty boxes under the tablecloth. "Don't exaggerate. I just like helping out the newbies." "Well, speaking of helping, let's go check out the auction items. I want to get something good this year, and the proceeds go to the Domestic Violence Center." Iris snatched up her purse. Marlo's stomach did that thing again. If she went out into the main lobby, there was a good chance Heath would be there. The models hung around the front, taking pictures with the readers before the doors opened for the book signing. Then they would mill about the main room for more pictures and serve as eye candy. She didn't have a choice. She would come face to face with Heath at some point during today's event. "Fine, but let's be quick. They'll be letting the readers in soon." "Marlo, remember when you used to be fun?" Not really. This was only half true. She did remember. She remembered dressing up for events, excited to meet new and old readers, participating in all the campy fun, going for drinks afterward with all the bawdy girls. When had things changed? Was it before Heath or after? Before Ben or after? Marlo knew the answer. She just didn't want to go there. The silent auction was in full swing and about to close. Iris pulled Marlo to the front, where she immediately wrote her name and a bid on a clipboard underneath a trip to California. "Goddess, do I need to get out of Colorado for a few days? This winter has absolutely sucked," she whined as she scribbled. Marlo walked down the row of items up for auction. She spied a spa package to a place right down the street from where she lived. Perfect. As she was about to jot down her name and bid, she felt a strong hand grasp her elbow. Marlo turned to find herself face to face with Heath Rochester's pectoral muscles, or, as she once called his body, the gold mine. He was shirtless, as all the male models were, and it was all she could do to keep her hands and tongue to herself. She forced her gaze to meet his. Drooling over a man who was way too hot and young was just embarrassing. She refused to do it. "Marlo, whoa! I haven't seen you in ages." He dipped down to wrap his arms around her shoulder. He was warm and hard, and his breath smelled like a caramel macchiato. "Yes, ages." She sounded like an idiot. "Betting on me? Make sure you win." "Betting on you?" She flicked her gaze over her shoulder. Sure enough, right alongside the day at the spa was a picture of Heath. The caption read, "Dinner for 2." Sludge seemed to move through her brain. Actually, I was going to bid on the massage." She squeezed her eyes shut. If this encounter was a test, she was failing miserably. She caught a look in Heath's eyes she couldn't decipher. It was gone in a second, replaced by his usual happy glint. Cool. Hey, I'll see you in there. Heath inclined his head to the doors of the main room behind him. Totally. She should just stop speaking entirely. What was that about? Iris whispered in her ear with such force that Marlowe flinched. Nothing. He was just saying hi. She turned back to the clipboard to finalize her bid. Let's go. The event was packed. Women of all ages, along with the occasional man, crowded each table, books and swag bursting from their pink event tote bags. Ladies strolled around, sucking on penis-shaped lollipops which many of the authors sold, including Iris. There were also tiny penis-shaped earrings dangling from earlobes, and one reader even wore a pink t-shirt emblazoned with a silver sequined penis. The room was loud, filled with laughter and happy chatter. Iris sold out of her vampire series in the first hour, and her werewolf and gargoyle series were both almost gone at the end of the second hour. Marlowe did equally as well. The bad boys and dukes were all gone. She was now down to a handful of her sweet romances, the ones without the shirtless men on the covers. If only she actually sold more. For every 2 purchased books, she always gave at least 1 away. Iris had been right about that, as she was about most things. An irritating fact. Heath wandered by at one point, but Marlowe was busy with the line at her table that she couldn't do more than smile and nod in his direction. He looked good. His face looked more mature, like 1 year was all it took for his jawline to become even more Heath would be the kind of with age. Defined and rule-worthy, man who only improved. Somewhere between the auction table and hers, his chest had been oiled up. Jealousy bubbled just underneath the surface as she thought of some random woman with her hands all over him, shamelessly rubbing his body with her bare hands. At the end of the 4-hour signing, a loudspeaker crackled somewhere near the main door. Ladies and gentlemen, the auction winners are about to be announced. Please direct your attention to the stage. Every head in the room turned to watch Gladys, the event organizer, amble up to the microphone, a clipboard in one hand. Come on, California, Iris yelled out next to Marlowe. Iris didn't get her trip. When the name of the winner was called out, Marlowe thought she might genuinely cry. Damn, Iris murmured. Maybe you'll have better luck. 3 more auctions later, and the name of the Spa Day winner was announced. It wasn't Marlowe's. Oh well, maybe next year. Marlowe gathered up her empty boxes, ready to pack up what she had left and begin the hour-long drive from Denver back to Colorado Springs. Hold your horses. Let's see who wins the dinner with Heath. Iris put her hand on Marlowe's shoulder to keep her in her chair. Why? Seeing some woman squealing with delight over Heath was the last thing she wanted to witness. On the stage, Gladys held up her clipboard. And the winner of the final prize, a romantic dinner date with our very own Heath Rochester, goes to Marlowe Bennett.